don't know how to start this. Hi, my name is Jess. Welcome to my channel. Sorry if I keep on looking out the window. There's things going on outside. So, I was inspired to do this video by Misha Grimes. I watched her video the other day on her Lyme's disease, and it inspired me to make a video on my chronic fatigue syndrome, even though they're not the same, obviously. They're not similar, but I don't know, I just wanted to speak about it because it has changed my life. Like, I know it sounds really dramatic, but it truly has. And it's one of the biggest things I've ever gone through. And I know there's way more bad things that can happen to you. Like, there's some people in way more difficult situations than I am, because I have a home, I have a loving family. So yeah, but I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me or anything. This is just telling you about chronic fatigue syndrome and how I got it and how my life is with it. What else was I going to say? So yeah, this is one of the biggest things I've ever gone through, and it's changed me a lot. Like, everything in your life is specific to you, so even though this isn't like what the worst thing ever, or like it's not even that bad, because I don't think you can die from it. I don't think so anyway. So it's not like it's life threatening or anything, but it is life changing. I know that sounds dramatic, but yeah. So this is like one of the biggest things that's happened in my life, but compared to other people's lives, it's not bad. But for me specifically, it's relevant to me because it's changed my life. I don't even know what I'm saying. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, or what I'm trying to say. So, I have chronic fatigue syndrome. I've had it since around September. So if you don't know what chronic fatigue syndrome is, it is when you've had a virus or something like that, and then it's completely tired your whole body out. You have extreme fatigue, tiredness. Earlier on, like, I'm getting better now, but earlier on I couldn't get out of bed. I have it on the quite severe side, but I can still do things, but not a lot, not nearly as much as I used to be able to do. I don't really get to see my friends much. I don't go to school because of this. I'm sorting out the school situation now anyway, because I had a meeting with my school last week about it. Okay, so I'm just going to start from where I first was feeling ill. It was 17th of September, and I remember that, and I don't know why. But it was on the 17th of September, I went to school. I felt horrible. In the past, I always suffered with sore throats, tonsillitis. Like, I used to have tonsillitis a lot, but I've had my tonsils removed, so that helped a lot. I used to suffer with severe nosebleeds that went on for like 2 hours sometimes. Earache, basically your throat and your ears and your nose are connected, so that has always been a problem for me since I was around 2 years old. And I would have these like flare-ups around 3 or more times a year, and I'll get a cold sore on my chin, either this side or this side, I'm not really sure, I think it changes. And also sometimes I get a lump on my lip, a cold sore on my lip. and sometimes I get them up this nostril too. I don't know if that's TMI, but yeah. And I have a cold right now, if I sound a bit weird. So yeah, I just thought it was a flare-up, and this was in September. I had a cold sore on my chin. They get quite big. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it here. But yeah, so I had a cold sore. I had swollen glands, like it made my neck like really big. And I had earache and all that stuff, the usual stuff. So I went to the office at break time because I knew I was going to go home, because I told my mum before I went to school I'm probably going to come home today because I feel awful. So I went to the reception, the office, and I told them that I had tonsillitis, just because I can't explain to them what it is without saying it's tonsillitis, because literally that's tonsillitis, but I don't have tonsils. It's a bit confusing, but yeah. When I was at school, I was feeling like so drained, like I literally felt all the colour drain out my skin. That's how it feels, and I go so like lightheaded, and yeah. So they sent me home, and I stayed in bed for the rest of the day, and then I was going to go in the next day, and then I didn't, and then I had another day in bed. That just kept on going and going and going and going. We went to the doctors like loads of times. The first time I went, they said come back in a week if you still got it. So I went back in the next week because I still got it and it was getting worse. So then they gave me antibiotic. Oh, so they said that I had a chest infection, but I didn't have a cough or anything, so I was just like, okay. So they gave me antibiotics. They don't just give out antibiotics to anyone. So I told them that it was getting worse and worse and worse. So then they said I had a chest infection, so it spread from my throat to my chest. So I had antibiotics for that, and then that wasn't helping, so I went back, I think a week later or something. And they said I had a virus, so I had antivirals as well. So I was on antibiotics and antivirals, and it still wasn't helping. I was getting worse and worse and worse. So I had that, and then they gave me ibuprofen and paracetamol, but paracetamol helped with my headaches and earaches, and the ibuprofen helped with the pain. So yeah, that's what I had. It was like, started like that, went down, 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 went up a bit, and then at Christmas time, it went really bad. I couldn't get out of bed, literally. I don't know how to emphasise it enough. I couldn't get out of bed for weeks. Like, if I did something for like an hour, I'd have to go back to bed for a week, and I couldn't get up. I'm still kind of like that. If I do something for an hour, I have to go to sleep. But now it lasts like 2 days instead of a whole week. So I am getting better. So then I went back to the doctors, and I had a blood test for glandular fever because they thought it might be that. But it came back negative, and then I think a week later or something they sent me for another one because the first time might not show up, and I went again for the glandular fever blood test, came back negative again. So with chronic fatigue syndrome, you can't like do a test for it. You have to eliminate everything else it could be, and then that's what you have. Sometimes it can be post-viral fatigue, but mine was going on for ages and ages. It was really severe, so they thought at that point that it could be chronic fatigue syndrome. But when you have chronic fatigue syndrome, they need to check that you've had it for 3 months before they can diagnose you with it. There's not really a treatment for it, but there's like mental courses that you can go on, and like they're trying to do research on it basically, because no one really knows much about it. So there isn't really a treatment, but there is ways you can help it. So, and for the ways to help you, it's better to get it treated earlier, so it goes away faster. But obviously you have to have it for 3 months then, so it takes forever. So then we finally went to the paediatrician, and he diagnosed me with post-viral chronic fatigue syndrome and this thing called POTS. So it's basically when you get dizzy from standing up, get a really fast heartbeat when you stand up. Once I fainted downstairs, so yeah, he diagnosed me with that too. You get that along with chronic fatigue syndrome. At this point I wasn't going to school at all. I was feeling very left out from everyone, feeling very alone, quite sad. And then that got worse and worse as it went on. Because obviously when you can't do anything you used to be able to, it's horrible. Because I used to do horse riding, I used to be really active. I did the Duke of Edinburgh, if you don't know what that is. It's like this thing that you have to do. It's very, drains you a lot, so that might be a bit to do with it, but I don't know. I used to be very active at this point and I couldn't do anything anymore. I had to quit horse riding. It was horrible because I wanted to do things but my body wouldn't let me. Like, my brain wanted to but I couldn't. I couldn't meet up with my friends, and they would make plans with other people because I didn't go to school, so I couldn't really talk to them. I literally didn't speak to anyone at this point. I was just sitting in a dark room all day, this room, in my bed, lying down, not doing anything all day. It took forever and ever and ever to get in to see the specialist. Like, things, like, you had to push things to be done by the doctors because they literally, and I went to loads of different people. I had to explain everything over and over again. It tired me out. These appointments made me tired for like a whole week, so I couldn't have another appointment in the week. I tried to go to school for 1 hour, but getting dressed and having a shower like tires me out so much, so I couldn't do anything when I was there. So the teacher sent me home. But I wasn't in lessons, I was just in this room that you can go in for people. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if any of this makes sense. It's just a lot to tell you because it's from September till now, so I've got to squeeze a lot in. So I finally got into the specialist, but there's no specialist in my area who deal with chronic fatigue syndrome. So I had to drive all the way to Bath, which is 3 hours away from where I live, and he gave me this sheet to like track everything. I still haven't started that yet. And he diagnosed me with anxiety and low mood as well. Because that came along with it is because I don't see anyone. I feel like excluded from everyone, like I'm locked in my room. So it's 3 hours later. I took a nap and I realised that half of the video was not filmed, so it was gone. So now I'm in my dressing gown. This is reality of what I wear. And yeah, so I'm just going to carry on. So I went to the specialist in Bath. He diagnosed me with low mood and anxiety and organised an appointment to with CAMHS, which to help my mental health. And I'm also on amitriptyline. He gave me amitriptyline to help me have a deeper sleep at night, so I won't have to sleep as much, so I have a better quality sleep. So now I've cut down hours to 15 hours of sleep a day.